Welcome back, Al Cherne from Panasonic. What do you call this thing?
This is the Varicam LT.
Zacuto version.
Oh yeah, it's Zacuto-ized, but we'll get into that in a minute, I guess. The first question that I think a lot of people are going to say is, what's the difference between the big Varicam?
The main difference is that it's smaller and lighter, less expensive, with the same image sensor. So it's got 2 native ISOs.
It's weird to say that.
So one of them is 800 and one of them is 5,000. And the amount of digital noise that you see between the two is imperceptible. So the image quality and the 14 stops is identical.
I mean, right now I see there's a PL mount on there, but
Right.
it comes with...
Comes standard with an EF mount. And the nice thing about it is it's user changeable. There's no back set adjustments required. You don't have to send it into the factory to have the mounts changed out. So
That's
it gives you a lot of flexibility.
And I think it's about 12 or 1300, somewhere in that range.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then it also comes with this monitor.
Yeah, it's like a control panel. I mean, it's great. You got the total control of your camera, and it can be used as an actual monitor, which is nice. And it can,
move,
you can tip it down for shots when you're holding the camera above you. You can put it on the dumb side. It's really great. What's nice here too is that you haven't relied entirely on this control panel. So you can remove the control panel and you still have camera control. I love that. I gotta say, with the Airy Mini, I don't like that. I mean, it's like an Apple device. I got one button. It kind of scares me now. Still got that nice little switch that I love from the old days on there. Big record button there. And then you have a filter wheel. Now talk to us about it. It feels like a mechanical wheel, but
it is. It's an optical. It's
it is an optical
filter.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that these are designed and built so that they all match internal to the camera. So you don't have to carry your own batch of filters.
So when people buy the body...
They get the control panel, they get the EF mount, and they get a handle for it as well.
And the handle, right, okay.
Well, so in an apples to apples compared to like the C300 Mark II or any of the other cameras, you have the same stuff. You've got all your audio built into this. You've got a control panel, you've got an LCD. Actually, some cameras don't come with an onboard, or they make it so difficult to use it that it's not even worth it. I like how you did this. You have, especially for us, you have the way you're running the EVF is with a BNC, and you've got a DC out right here, which I think you have as a 4-pin Hiroshi or something.
Right. Correct.
So that's great. That goes right to the EVF. 2 BNCs. Talk to us about that.
So, like one for a client monitor or for producer's monitor, and one could go to another recorder. You're going to be able to record raw out of those two to an external recorder. And you still have your SDI out that we use for the viewfinder.
That's awesome. Genlock timecode, those are great. You got LAN here, which is serial control, I think. I don't know what USB device is.
You can take contents that's on the Express P2 and then spit that out through there and dump it to a USB device like USB 3 device.
Cool. All right, now here you got, this is great. You got the stereo audio plug here, 5-pin. You got your 2 XLRs, love that. Like where they're sitting. I like that it's built into the camera body. I always love that. Here, this is great. You got a power plug here, a 4-pin, which is terrific. The cool thing about that is when you're on a tripod, you don't have to be using batteries.
Right.
You've been doing that forever. A lot of companies don't do that. Okay, here's something that I love. Battery plate on the back. Great.
Right.
You just stick a battery on and you're ready to go.
That's standard with the gold mount, comes with the camera.
Yeah. Now, what if you want to have a V-lock on there?
You could probably pull that mount off and put something else on.
So you only sell an Anton.
Correct.
So the recording.
2 things. One is that's one of the things that differentiates this camera from the full size, the Varicam 35. So this has an Express P2 slot. So that's the main recorder. And then the sub recorder is basically for recording proxy level videos. So the proxy card is an SD card. It records at 8 megabits and you can use it for, offline.
Yeah, edit. Yeah. Let's talk about speed because that's a big issue to a lot of people. So at 240 frames, what format are you shooting in?
240 frames is 1080.
Is 1080. Okay, and if you go to 2K, you can shoot what? 120 frames?
Right.
And then if you go to 4K, you're shooting 60 frames.
Up to 60.
Okay, got it. So in-camera is extremely impressive. It has all the things that I would want where I want them, which is a huge plus. My only negatives, and I always voice them, is that it's too tall for me, but every single camera that's ever been made is too tall for me. In the future, saw off the top 3 inches of this and stick it on the back because longer is better and shorter is better because it keeps that center of gravity lower.
Let's get into the accessories now. So what we have on the bottom is our VCT universal baseplate. It's the Pro, so it slides. So you can adjust on the fly, when you're changing lenses, the balance point. Okay.
The way that we've designed our base plate with this ledge like this allows you to get the rods almost to where the rods meet your shoulder. And then the reason that we did that is in this scenario, your rods start very far forward and you can't get to the follow focus to the lens. It's already beyond the lens. That's the one difference that separates our VCTs from everybody else.
Our top handle, which people may recognize, these are out there in the world. This, of course, will work on this camera like any other. We will be making a top plate for this camera so that you can attach this easier and in many different positions.
Okay, so that's my second con, is that you made a bolt-on handle, which is a huge problem. It's, first off, it's much taller than this one. The problem is that now you can't set it directly into a case because the thing is so tall. So now you got to lay it on its side, and it's eating up an enormous amount of case space.
It's also not quick releasable, which we always like to do.
Right,
Not
this
everybody
handle,
does that, but
you flip this lever and you can just slide this handle right off.
another important feature about the handle is that that's how we support our mini axis and our EVF. This is the next version of our Gratical. This is the Gratical I. It's identical in every way except that, as you can see, it's a lot smaller. It needs external power, and it only has one in, an SDI in. Other than that, it's pretty much identical to the Gratical HD and X.
Well, it has all the features of the Gratical HD, plus it has the joystick back here can light up red and be your tally light.
Right.
And it has a proximity sensor now on the bottom, so when you take your head away, it shuts down the OLED. It protects burn-in, you know, because OLEDs can have burn-in. And then it has a further protection. If you wait, I think, 15 minutes, it goes into shut-off mode.
Right.
Okay, so here's the difference. This, first off, the Gratical I is the smallest OLED viewfinder. It's the smallest viewfinder I've ever seen. I mean, you can see how tiny this is. It's much smaller than yours. I'm not going to badmouth yours, but it is larger. It's $6,000, and this one's under $2,000. Jens has a prototype arm, which we will have a finished version at NAB, of our new trigger arm. And what this does is it has a lot of amazing features to it. It allows you on the fly to be able to just quickly adjust that. And the great part is that now when he wants to put it down, he can just flip the thing all the way up and it will set flat on the deck. That is one of the key features. Another feature that's unique about ours is by adjusting that, he has full articulation of your hand. That's a big deal.
Otherwise, you can get fatigued if it's not in the right spot.
And the last great feature about this is the extension, which is nice. It gives you that further bit of adjustment. Once you find your spot and lock it up, you're pretty much just flipping down and flipping up and you're good to go. And you can easily set this camera down now, which is a big deal. I mean, in the past, we really haven't been able to set these damn cameras down. So I love this camera. I especially like the rig, that it is so small and compact and so light that you can just go kerplunk it in a case like this, pop it out, throw it on your shoulder, and you're shooting. I think that was the dream we've had for years and years and years. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.